Hey there, teacher friends. This is Bill MacDonald, the reading and writing doctor, with a video for all of you third through fifth grade teachers out there who purchased or would like to purchase my third through fifth grade reading practice test based on the question from the last several years. I've gotten lots of compliments, and several hundred of you have already purchased it to kind of help your kids get over that last hurdle. We're going to go ahead and do the questions in order for now, and then I'll change the order once I get a message or an email or a post on my comment section. There was one teacher who mentioned several, so I'll kind of skip around after a little bit, but I want to do the first several in the order that you receive them in the PDF document. Remember that when you buy the practice test, it comes with the reading and writing graphic organizer that you'll see, along with the advanced reading and writing folder that you'll see, a digital copy of all those things, so that you'll be able to follow along easily and have these things at your beck and call to use either as printed copies in front of your students for the next couple weeks, or as a digital copy that they can see on their computers as they begin to wind down their practice time. So let's take a look at question number 1. But before we do, I just want to remind you that when you're doing a reading passage, what you're going to want to do is use the revising graphic organizer. Most of your questions are going to be based on reading questions, understanding the content of the beginning, thumb, middle fingers, and end, introduction, thumb, middle fingers, body, conclusion, pinky, of a selection. So depending on the kind of question, we will use something from this hand, which has the acronym TIES, where everything in a selection, regardless of what genre we're talking about, ties together. Or we might use the lower half portion where we're just looking at a word in a sentence or a phrase in a line of a poem, transitioning between ideas using a transition teeter-totter seesaw. Or if we're doing revising, we might be adding, removing, replacing, or moving a sentence, because when you're doing reading, you're understanding the content. Doing revising means you're improving the content. So if we take a look, the purpose, the genre we're going to look at today is a poem, and we'll be able to tell from the very first paragraph what point of view, first person, what perspective, the speaker, who the speaker is in the poem, what tense it's written in, all of that. And because there are 6 stanzas, you're going to see that I'm going to use 6 different colored monkeys, one for each stanza, as a reminder. When you're asking about a character, well, even though this is my expository constructed response type, short answer type, and essay response type questions, when we're talking about a character's point of view, they have thoughts and opinions inside their head, as well as feelings and emotions inside their heart. And that's why the acronym TOES is down there. When you're reading about a character in a fictional piece or a poem or a play or literary nonfiction, you might need something from the acronym TOES to help you understand some specific reading or writing concept. So the O, the head, has opinions and thoughts, and the E has my emotions that I'll either tell with vocabulary or show with actions or body language, etc. So let's take a look at the poem that I've got for you guys in 3rd through 5th grade, and I went ahead and I already boxed in at each stanza of the poem. I've labeled it by stanza. Our title is called Composition Notebook, capitalization, composition, capital notebook. So we have a yellow monkey that looks like an S to represent the first stanza, a blue monkey to represent the second stanza, a green one for the third, orange for the fourth, purple for the fifth, and red for the sixth. Why do I use yellow for the beginning? Because caution, you need to be able to look closely to find out what's the purpose, what's the point of view, what's the perspective, what tense is it being written in, and the red is like a caboose of a train, what closure, what extension, what theme, what lesson can be learned, how is life different or better or worse because of whatever this last paragraph is, and in this case happens to be a stanza. You can buy these at Oriental Trading or in sets of 400 for about 17 bucks, or you could buy them in sets of 12 at Walmart in all these same colors, I believe, and maybe not the yellow, I'm not sure. I think I had to spray paint some of them when I bought my own from Walmart, but they do have the blue, the green, the red, the purple, and the orange ones. So you might just have to spray paint some yellows yourself. At Walmart, they also sell yellow, blue, green, and red at the Dollar Tree, because you're going to be talking about stanzas S, or specific supporting sentences S, or scenes S, or sections S, or the whole selection, or a paired selection. So we color coded so that we can have maybe each group, if we're still not ready for for individual, for solo, for partner, we can have each group cover a question. So the first thing that we do is we say, okay, I'm not going to read the whole poem first. I'm going to look for questions that ask me to read just a stanza, and sometimes just one line, and sometimes even just a couple of words, or even what one word means. So don't make life harder than it is. So for now, we'll start by reading the question 1, and then the stanza that it's asking about, number 3, yellow, blue, green. So it's going to be the green. We're asking about the green stanza, the green monkey. We're going to underline and label in both places. We'll eliminate 3 answers. That's why the letter E has 3 sticks. And we'll select one in the book and one in the Scantron. And yes, your students have the ability, when they're annotating on a computer, to be able to write the word rules, or they can also use scratch paper and do just as much annotating on paper, and they can make sure they number that we're doing this annotation, these strategies for question number 1. All right, so as we read in stanza 3, so this is going to be about question 1. I'm going to put a question Q number 1 right here, so that when we go over there to stanza 3, when we see the sister, the subject of the speaker, not understanding her excitement about finding the composition notebook, the speaker feels. And so even though the speaker is the first subject, what the question they're asking is about our second subject. I want to know how the speaker feels, not the sister of the speaker. So if the sister is the action, what we want to know is the reaction. If the sister is the cause, I don't understand why you're so excited about finding a composition notebook. What we're looking for is the effect. Okay, so we're either embarrassed because she didn't know how to read, angry, her heart, that a family member would look down on her the way that she did, excited, regardless of what her sister does, she's still excited to show her sister and change her mind, or she's unconcerned, which means she doesn't really care what her sister thinks. She's going to enjoy her newly found composition notebook anyway. This is from question number 14 on the fourth grade test. It got a 55% correct. Barely more than half of the kids were able to analyze the feelings of possibly the correct character, not the first character that's mentioned, the sister. So we're trying to find about the speaker's point of view. So as we read it, see the yellow, the blue, and the green. I'm going to try to read just the green. Question number 1, I'll label that, is asking about this green monkey stanza. My sister told me it was crazy for me to just stand there overcome with joy. She couldn't understand how the smell, feel, and sight of something as simple and as bright as white paper could bring me so much happiness. It didn't make sense to her, as she seemed to be thinking, why does she even need a notebook? She can't even seem to write. Okay, so we're telling the reader all of the thoughts of the sister. So what your kids probably have to do is to fast forward using the green and say, well, if that was the cause, since I haven't really seen the reaction of the speaker yet, let's move forward, not backwards, because since this is the cause, we'll see, and I'm going to use red this time because the question is, what was the feelings, what was the effect, what was the reaction based on what happened first. So I'm going to show you by going backwards that in this case, the question is about the reaction of the speaker, not the actions or thoughts of the sister. For days and days, all I could do was absorb the smell of the pages. No reaction. Hold the notebook close to my heart and listen to the sound of the papers would make. I knew that somehow, some way, the new sound I would hear would be the magical words that would be written on them by my own hand. So apparently, there's nothing, not even a trace of any mention of the sister looking down on her or thinking bad about her. So if I was to infer, since there wasn't any convincing, there wasn't any anger, there was just joy. There's not excited to show it to her sister and change her mind. Well, since that next stanza doesn't even mention her sister, just her reactions to the poem, I'm going to probably infer that she's unconcerned about what her sister thinks, that she's not angry. She doesn't lash out. She doesn't say anything or do anything. She's not embarrassed. She doesn't turn red. She doesn't start crying, nothing like that. And so the best answer is going to be unconcerned, meaning I don't really care. And so an extension would be, have your kids talk about things that a sister or another friend or a relative could say to them, where their reaction would be one of unconcerned, that it wouldn't bother them, that it wouldn't affect them positively or negatively. It wouldn't change them. She has a positive perspective and it stays the same regardless of what her sister thinks. And so let's think outside the box for a minute for an extension. What could people say to us or do to us that could say, you know what, I'm going to be unconcerned. I don't really care what people think. I'm just going to do this and I'm going to be this way, and see what your kids come up with. Thank you for watching the video. Tune in tomorrow when we'll look at question number 2 for 3rd through 5th grade. If you're a 6th through 8th grade teacher, I've already posted the first question for you guys as well. Be sure to like the video on YouTube and Facebook. If you have a friend that does not have Facebook, be sure to copy the link when you're in the YouTube so that you can share it with them and let them have a chance to try that. And I look forward to hearing from many of you how much you feel like this is helping you and your students, especially with the modeling that I'll be doing for the next couple of weeks for you. God bless and take care.